In this demo I will show you how Oracle Key Vault will be set up for a multi-node cluster. Oracle Key Vault has a number of use cases and one of them is TDE key management. In the setup of the cluster we will create a read-write pair in data center 1 in this case, and you see that the nodes are paired. They are synchronously communicating, node 1 and node 2, and if you need a second data center there also a read-write pair can be installed. Here you see the initial setup of Oracle Key Vault where I log in with the root account that I was provided during the installation, and first we have to create the users. So we create a user for key management and for system management. In my demo environment I don't care too much about separation of duties. That's why I create a user called all-admin, and that gets the key management role, the sysadmin role and the audit manager role. So first check if the user account is viable, then we specify that sysadmin and audit manager are shared with the key admin user, and that's why I call it all admin. Then we have to fill in the recovery passphrase for the OKV node, and that's very important because we cannot reset it. If you lose it then you have to reinstall Oracle Key Vault. For clustering it's important to have NTP set up, so we specify an NTP server and we do that on node 1 and node 2. So on the left hand side will be the controller node and the right hand side will be added as a candidate node in a bit. So this is about the setup of the users. Then we are able to log in after this. So the Oracle Key Vault UI can be logged into with the user all-admin. I give it a user. It prompts me for a new password after the initialization. So the password I provided in the screen before, that will be the current password, and I specify a new password for that user on both nodes. And with that the setup, the initial setup of Oracle Key Vault has finished. Then on the first node we are going to add cluster functionality. So we go to the cluster tab and there it will prompt us for some information about the cluster, and that information is if it's the first node in a cluster, in this case yes, the node name, and that's it. So now if I go back to the cluster tab, then we can add a node to our cluster. So note that the current server has switched to read-only mode because it's the first node in the cluster. If there's an odd pair or an odd number of nodes then it will be read-only. The passphrase is entered, and the information about the second node that we are going to add, so OKV2 in my case with IP address ending in 142, that's the one on the right hand side. If I log in there and I go to the cluster tab and now specify yes, no sorry, it's not the first node of the cluster, the recovery passphrase again, and the IP address of the so-called controller node, that is the one on the left hand side, that will be on, is running on .41, and there we copy the certificate of the controller node into this screen, and that will start the process. First we get in the right hand side, we will get a refreshed screen where we see the candidate node certificate. That is copied over to the left hand side, to node 1 in my case. And after that has been done, you see that this is it, and that certificate is copied, and now we can start the add of the node. On the right hand side you see the progress already and the status of the process, and in a bit, and I shortened it a bit, the video, not to have to wait too long, but now we see the communication happening. On the left hand side there will be an OS backup and a database backup, and that database backup will be sent over to in parts to the right hand side, and there the database will be restored, recovered, and then the communication is set up. So now you see that all the parts have been sent over, and it's now a matter of waiting for the right hand side. It will restart, so don't worry if you get an error 500, internal error. You see that happening now as it is restarting the right hand, so the OKV node 2 in my case, that will restart, and if I do a refresh you will see that it gives you a server error 500. After some time you are able to log in again, and then on the clusters tab you will see that the status of node 2 is pairing, and now after a little bit of waiting it will go to active, and then the status, now the status is still read only for both of the nodes, and when the pairing has been finished then we will see, and that will be around now, so that they are both active, and the read only status, if I refresh the left hand side also, you see that the read only status is gone and the cluster is set up. That is the end of the demo.